Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Erin and I do mostly budgeting videos like the one you are about to see here. First, thank you so much for tuning in and watching another video and spending some time with me. I wanted to let you know that today's video will be covering my sinking funds, and I'm very excited to do this video because anything over and above the basics right now, so when I say the basics, I mean our bills and our weekly variable or necessary expenses, anything over and above that I think is just so much of a bonus, and I'm so grateful for it. So I did a video on cash envelopes so far, which house my variable expenses for the week, and I also did a video on this week's side income. So if you're interested in that, those videos are on my channel and available to watch. The side income was pretty good this week. It wasn't exactly, I didn't reach what I had been doing the weeks prior, but things have been busy and we had some birthdays and just other things going on. And sometimes I'm just tired. So I hate to say that because I'm trying to make as much money as possible while I can. But you know, sometimes you just run out of steam. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about our sinking funds. And like I said, I'm very excited to have anything left over for this, because, you know, when this whole thing started and I had a pay reduction, well, it's coming, but, you know, all the news and my husband's laid off and things like that, I really struggled with our budget. Like, how are we going to make ends actually meet? And since then, since we've been doing this side hustle. Now, as you can see, Thursday, May 21st was the very first payday for Grubhub. And since then, I have introduced Instacart into the mix too. So it hasn't quite been a month, but since we've been doing it, it's been such a blessing because we have been able to not only make ends meet, but put a little money aside. And honestly, that was unfathomable to me at the beginning of all this. So I'm really very excited about it. So here's the money I have left over for sinking funds, and here is my set of cash envelopes. So as you can see here, this is what I've allocated for the week. So I have some gas money, I have grocery money, I'm getting a haircut finally, and I have some dog food money. So these are all stuffed and ready to go. So the total for these, as you can see here, was $225. So that is the money that I've already taken out of this week's side income money. So I'm actually going to write that there because I didn't write that down. All right, so I'm gonna fill that in just so things are complete. So $250 went to cash envelopes. And so far, I didn't add anything this week, but so far I have $1,500 toward my July bills, and the rest of those July bills will come out of my next paycheck, which is next week for my regular job. So right now, let's count how much we have for our sinking funds, because the rest of this just goes to it entirely. So we have 100, 200, 300, 350, 400, 420, 430, 431, 32, 33, 434. So it's a nice chunk of money, in my opinion, to go towards these funds. So I'm pretty excited about that. And what else did I want to tell you guys? I had mentioned in my video just about the cash envelopes that my husband and I have discussed some things, and I think that we are going to be staying in our house until June of next year. So we're going to be selling then. And in the meantime, that means that we have a few things that we need to do as far as home improvement goes to our house. And I'm pretty excited about that. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be planned debt. I know that that's still not good debt, but it's still a plan and it's something that we're excited about. And I think that when it comes time to sell our house next year, you know, it'll be a good move. So, all right. So our sinking funds, we have the same four that we always have. So first things first, we have I'm going to zoom in. We have the emergency fund. So we have that one. And I only have four. So just in case you're wondering, I have savings. And you can hear my dogs barking. There's another dog walking down the street on the sidewalk, and this happens all the time. He's a neighbor dog, and well, he's being walked, and my dogs go crazy over him. They love him, so they're always trying to get his attention. So we're gonna write down previous balance, because that's always good information to have. So I'm gonna write it just like that. And now, you know, now that we've made this decision, and sometimes, guys, making the decision is half the battle. So now that we have decided something, that we're going to stay here one more year, I just realized, like, gosh, I haven't bought any flowers for the porch. Usually I buy hanging baskets. You know, I really just didn't do anything. And some of it was like, I don't want to say depression, but, you know, there's so much going on right now, and I don't know, I just wasn't that happy, you know what I mean, lately. And I should be, because I can say I haven't been that happy, but I remain grateful. So I just wanted to put that out there. Very grateful for everything that we have, including our health. So the previous balance for our emergency funds was $13.70, so I'm going to set that aside. Let's see, dogs was $2.45. Please excuse these nails. One broke, and I had to cut them all because they were just disgusting, and they're stained from polish. Christmas, $500. So I'm going to have to put some product on them, like cuticle oil and things like that, and I'm gonna have to redo them. $400 for savings. So yeah, I've been doing my own nails, and I also take biotin, and I take gelatin capsules, and they got so long, and they were really, you know, strong and everything, but I don't know, I guess they just got too long. All right, so first things first, I want to really, really concentrate on the emergency fund, because that is extremely important to me. It's important to, like, in my feeling, security. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add $200 here. So that is from my June, I'm just going to write down 11th. And then the new total, $13.70 plus $200, $15.70. So some of you asked, and I do try to address this, what's the difference between an emergency fund and a saving fund? Well, for us, the biggest difference is the emergency fund, what I'm calling an emergency fund, is simply the fund that I'm trying to grow 6 months worth of my salary. And that's kind of like a Dave Ramsey inspired thing. You know, he wants you to have like 6 months worth of bills, or really, I mean, you should have whatever you can, you know, just in case something happens to your job, you know, should you get sick, should you get injured, something like that, or just should you lose your job for some crazy reason. So 6 months worth of bills is pretty much comparable to 6 months worth of my salary, especially now that I'm going to have a pay cut that is going to last at least 1 year. So I'm trying to build up to 6 months worth of salary. So right now, 1514 plus 1516, that is my salary. So you see 3030. If I multiply that by 6, that's a huge number, and far greater than I had anticipated it being. So when I started this emergency fund, I was like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna save 6 months worth of salary. And then when I actually did the figure, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how long is that gonna take me? So right now I should have 1570 in here, so we will recount it together. I just added 200. So, and I exchanged my sinking funds for smaller bills or larger bills, so I would have less of them. So 100, 200, these are sticky, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000, or 1000, 1100, 1200, 13, 14, 15, 1550, 1570. All right, so we're right on the money, literally. All right, so I'm gonna put that back into my emergency fund savings. Now let's see. So we have 1570. And what did I say I needed? Let's see. 1514 plus 1516. Oops. 1514 plus 1516 times 6 minus 1570. I only have $16,610 to go. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. That is a lot of money. All right. So I am adding, that brings my New Balance to 1570. So I think it was the last sinking fund video I did where I told you guys I had cashed in my smaller bills for the larger ones, so the envelopes wouldn't actually end up splitting. So I think that was a good idea. All right, here is the wild card, savings. So as many of you know, I have this side income going on because I talk about it all the time because I think that it's super relevant to my situation. But I needed to put aside some tax money for next year because when I get paid through Grubhub and Instacart, they don't take taxes out prior to sending you your income. So I didn't do it the first few weeks and I needed to go back and take out 20% for everything. So I ended up needing $640. And rather than taking it from like our main savings that we really try not to touch unless it's completely necessary, that money's in the bank. I decided to take it out of the savings fund because I really didn't know where else to take it from, and the savings fund made the most sense to me. So as you can see here on this little tally sheet that I have, you can see where I debited $640 for taxes. So if you're wondering, you know, what happened, I thought your savings fund had a little bit more money in it. It did. I had taken it all the way down to $400. So today I'm going to add $200. And the New Balance will be $600. Sometimes you just, I don't know, sometimes you have to spend money. Sometimes you have to take from your funds. Sometimes things happen. And I've talked about this before because these sinking funds, I never want to touch them. Like as soon as I put money in them, it's like, even if I have a fund for dogs, which I do, when my dogs go to the vet, I don't want to use a sinking fund. I want to keep saving that and growing it until I reach a certain threshold. Now, what that threshold ends up being, I have no idea. I haven't planned that far, but I'm just saying, like, I never want to use the money once I have it in there. And sometimes that's what that envelope is for. So it's really strange, you know, kind of the thoughts that go into that. But anyway, so we're back to $600. So let's count it, make sure. So we had 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm adding 5, 550, and 6. So we're back up to 600. We're still down from 1040, but that's okay. So this is the kind of thing, like, this is the kind of fund that is here in case, well, not in case, for when we do our new flooring, for when we get new appliances and things like that. That is what this is for. So it's pretty much for anything that doesn't fall into Christmas, dogs, or emergency. All right, so let's go to Christmas. So now this is how much money we have left. As you can see, we have $20, $30, $34. For dogs, I'm going to be adding 14. And I know that's not a lot, but at least it's something, you know? So the New Balance will be $255, $259. And I'll check that with calculator. All right, so let's take the Christmas Club one now. And you guys will have to let me know. Do you like how in-depth I get with these things, or is it too much? You know, for me, I need it to be in-depth like this, but I don't know what you guys feel about that. So for me, the more in-depth, the better. I just think that it forces you to keep a close hold on things, and that's a good thing. So we had 100, 200, 300, 405, and now we have 520. And like I said, I'm way ahead of the game as far as Christmas is concerned at this point, because by now I should have had, for the month of June, up to, what did I want? $300? 50 times 6, yeah, 300. I wanted to do about $50 a month if I could, but I'm a little bit ahead of the game, so I'm pretty happy with that. Did I write that? Yeah, I did. So actually, I'm a lot more ahead of the game than I anticipated, so I'm pretty happy about that. So now I think what I'm going to need to do is create my Christmas list for the year. And I think that even though that is maybe to a lot of you extremely early, maybe even premature, because, you know, we're in this crazy situation with quarantine and things like that, you know, maybe you think one thing at a time, and I totally get that. But I guess the reason why I'm saying that is because, being that I am a little bit ahead of the game, I need to know what my end point is going to be, and it's not necessarily going to be $600 as I first planned at the beginning of the year. So let's make sure 245 and 14 is 259. 245 plus 14, yeah, 259. So I kind of have to start plotting that out in my head. And I really don't think planning for Christmas in June is that out of line. Some of you may, but I don't think so. I think it's okay. So let's do our recap. We did have 245, so 100, 200, 220, 240, 245. So now we're going to have 100, 200, 20, 240, 250, 255, 256, 257, 258, and 259. So there we are with that. And that's our dog envelope. And that is everything. That's all of our envelopes. So I'm going to do a little highlighting, because that's kind of one of my favorite parts about all this. And I like to make this layout very colorful. And I explained this in my cash envelope videos. All the pens and things like that that I'm using, you guys can find down below. I've reorganized my description. So I have links to all those things, just in case you're interested. Because I do get questions sometimes about my Mujis and my mild liners and my Tombos and my little highlighters. These tiny little guys are so cute. So I do have everything linked finally and organized. So let's do that. Why not just highlight everything, right? Let's just highlight it all, because why not? All right. And whoops, somebody didn't highlight her explanation up here. So we have a payday here, Grubhub, and then we have a payday here, Instacart. And if you guys are interested in the pays and what I made and why it's different, you know, this week compared to last week at this time, I have that whole entire video. If you are interested, that is up as well. All right. So for sinking funds, we ended up with a grand total of 200 plus 200 plus 20 plus 14, $434. Okay, so I just wanted to point out one other thing. Let me highlight the areas here. This is how we allocated this week. So on my income, I had $597.01 plus $240.92. So that was for the week. And so I went down to $897 just to make it less decimally. Minus 20% was $167. So I actually took out $168 for taxes. So let's do what? 837 minus 168 brought me down to 669 minus 434 in sinking funds minus 250 in cash envelopes. What did I do wrong? I feel like I didn't do anything wrong. I don't know what the heck though. Oh, that's not right. Look what I did here. Okay, so these are my cash envelopes. So 100, 150, 200, 225, right? But up here I wrote 250. That's why it's good to double check yourself. Now, would that have affected anything? Absolutely not. But it would have affected my math. So let's do it again. So 837 minus 168, 669 minus 225 minus 434 brings me down to $10. Now, I explained this in my cash envelope video. I took a $10 bill out. I bought myself some Panera iced tea. It was like over $2.50, I can't remember, and the rest of those, the change from that $10 bill is in my purse. So if I take 10 out for pocket money and what's left in my purse, that gives me a zero-based budget. So there we go. That is it, guys. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you like how this is shaping up. Next payday, I also have to talk about how I'm funding the rest of July's bills, and that's because I am paying my bills on the 1st of every month now. And it just keeps things really nice, and it makes me feel like I'm a little bit ahead of the game. So that's it. I hope that you enjoyed this chatty video, because this was very chatty. And if you have any comments or feedback or questions or anything like that, please feel free to leave them down below. And if you did enjoy this video and would like to leave it a thumbs up, that really helps my channel. And if you haven't already subscribed and you enjoy this kind of video, I would love if you stuck around and did so. And hopefully, guys, I will see you in my next one. Take care.